Scratches? I got scratches.
I can show you the pictures right now.
No.
I'm a stalker. I have pictures of you. I'm a stalker. I have pictures of you. Everywhere you go, where you live. Not where I live, where you live. I have pictures of you. Mr. Perry goes, I'm not stalking her. I have pictures of her in Oklahoma, working, doing normal things normal people do. But I'm not a stalker. See the pictures of me not stalking her? Yeah. That's what I got to deal with. Use the Charles Perry Stalker podcast. Stay the fucking away from my family. Mr. Perry, you didn't care what I thought when you took everything I owned and ruined relationships and have me sleeping in my car and you're trying to take my car too, and all the times you had me pulled over, abuse of power and crap. Every time you jam up my phone and my computer, did you care? Did you ask me what I thought about that? Do you care what I think? Or when you did the thing to Lucky and Mike that you did to them, the horror that you imposed on them, did you ask me what I thought? So why is it you think I care what you think? Nobody even understands why you think that. Delusional. Yeah, you didn't give two fucks what I thought when you ruined my life and my finances. So I don't give two fucks what you think, okay? Stop trying to talk to me like you think I care what you think. I really don't. He types in my other phone while I'm doing the podcast. Once in a while you can see him do something in this phone. Most of the time though he doesn't, because he doesn't want you to see it. But he's hacked me. Stalkers often hack. And the use of technology today by National Stalking Resource Center, the video, they've got training videos for cops and shit. So you know how to fucking catch a stalker, catch a bad guy. Cops are supposed to catch bad guys. Did y'all know that? They are. So, if you don't know how, they got classes and training and videos and shit to teach you. So nowadays, stalkers use video voyeurism, hacking, peeping, all that kind of weird shit, creepy crap. They're creepsters. Can't get a date the normal way. Can't get a date at all. So, this is Neil. I got a picture of you because I'm a stalker. Mr. Perry, I got pictures of you. And now I'm going to go to court and show the judge all these pictures and tell, see, I'm not stalking her in Oklahoma. He lives in Texas.
No, I want you to leave my family fucking alone.
Keep hanging outside of there.
Hit the road. Dude, I promise you're gonna get yours and you're
I don't give a fuck. You can bring whoever the fuck you want.
That's okay.
You can bring
Is that
the
a
fucking
threat?
army. I don't give a fuck.
Does this make you feel? You're filming my father and my fucking sister. How does this make you
Is that
feel?
the one that put all those scratches on your arm? You want to see the
Scratches?
You want,
I got
I
scratches.
can show you the pictures right now.
No, I want you to leave my family fucking alone.
Keep hanging outside of there.
Hit the road. Dude, I promise you, you're gonna get yours and you're
I don't
gonna
give a fuck. You can bring whoever the fuck you want.
That's okay. You're
You
gonna
can bring
Is
the
that a
whole fucking
threat?
army. I don't give a fuck.
Does this make you feel? You're filming my father.
She thinks he's logical. I've done the same thing. You try to speak to these people like you think they're logical because you're wishing they were, and you're trying to reason with a crazy person who has no ability to reason. And so she's doing it back to him, hoping that he'll get it, that he'll see that it's not fun to be stalked and have someone take pictures of you. So that's what she's doing, and I've done the same thing, like I kind of just did. Did you ask me what I thought about you taking everything I own and having it thrown in a dumpster, all my clothes, things I worked for all my life? More than once he's done that. Having me kicked out of my home, taking all my money so I don't have any money. Like I said, she's not to be broke again. You're not to invade her privacy anymore, and you don't contact her one more time. Don't do it. You need to comply with the law. And all day again, Mr. Perry's asking me, is it the laundry people at the laundry helping you? Is it your mom and dad? Is it your kids? Is it Al? Is it Chris? Who's telling on me? And I'm just going, oh my God. No information until I have my money back and my privacy back and you fix the relationships you broke and you're gone. We all want for you to be gone. That's what I want. That's what I think. I think you are hideous and creepy and disgusting and repulsive, Mr. Perry. Today we get you because I'm broke and you're still invading my privacy. Guess what? Today we find out you're telling somebody, I'm gonna kidnap her. We've made it to where no one will report it. And the guy says to you, well, but people are gonna notice if she disappears. Yeah, but that won't hit the media because nobody will report it. Recorded by police. How many cops have that? Who all has heard it? The judge today that signs off on those investigatory orders, like wiretaps and shit, he heard it already. He heard it already. I didn't go down Memorial or Admiral because you wanted me pulled over again. You called in a pullover again. You used my Dasher app to get me to go down those streets again. But we found out before, as we typically normally do, 98% of the time, so I went a different route. Right? Because I'm still broke, and you're still invading my privacy, and you jammed up my computers and my phones all fucking day. Do you feel like a hot, sexy hunk of man, tough guy when you jam up my computers and my phone? Does that give you some sort of weird high, sir? Hacking is a felony. Peeping is a felony. Abuse of power is a felony. I think it's like Title 22 in Texas. I don't know what it is here, but I think in Texas it's like Title 22. You can go to jail for abusing your power, sir. That means when you call a cop and say, I'm a senator, and I got a victim of my stalking, pull her over and give her a ticket. Pull her over and find something. Pull her over and just harass her 3 times in 1 week. So I'm going to make it where she can't pay her registration. She's going to be broke until I'm going to starve her until she lies. She's going to eat out of a dumpster, because the only thing that might make her like me because I'm so hideous is eating out of a dumpster. That's the only thing worse than me on the planet, eating out of a dumpster. Ooh, that's what I have to deal with every day. And you're trying to reason with these people, and you're like, every day I say the same thing. When you fuck with me, you get caught. If you keep fucking with me, then you just want to get caught, because nothing else has happened in 10 years but that. And Mr. Perry has no ability to reason, and I'm talking to him like I think he does, which then kind of makes me look crazy too, just like she is. She's trying to reason with him. If you don't like me doing this, please understand, I don't like it when you do it to me. So cut it the hell out. And the guy's just not getting it. It's just going right over his head. Look.
My fucking sister. How does this make you
Is that
feel?
the one that put all those scratches on your arm? You want to see the
Scratches?
pictures? You want,
I got
I
scratches.
can show you the pictures right now.
No, I want you to leave my family fucking alone.
Keep hanging outside of there.
Monkey, hit the road. Dude, I promise you, you're gonna get...
She's trying to reason with him. She's kind of like, if you don't like me taking pictures of you, do you like this? Do you like this, Neil? Getting somebody got a camera up your face, up your ass? Because you're doing that to me and my family, and it's making us very uncomfortable. Please stop it. And his response is, oh, I got pictures of you. He doesn't even make sense. I'm going to get you. It's the same thing with Perry, exactly. It's like talking to the same guy. This Neil guy and Perry, it's like talking to the same dude. Wacky as it gets. Tutti fruity fruitcake. Mr. Perry has, so like a long time ago, our shrink is like, he doesn't have any cognitive reasoning, even if he's not going to pass a test, even that I give my first grade patients. He's not going to do it. He can't figure out cause and effect, same and different. If then that. Like if you fuck with Cynthia, she doesn't say fuck. If you do the crime to Cynthia, you're going to get caught. She has a bunch of cops all over you, like 40 of them, up your ass, like all over you like ape shit, who don't think it's cute what you're doing. So we find out you're trying to have me kidnapped, and we've got it where nobody will report it. So then it won't hit the news. Sure, but people are going to notice that she just disappears, like her friends and family. Yeah, but we told them not to report it, so it won't hit the news. Jesus. Do you hear that? How that sounds? So my guys are like, don't go down Memorial and don't go on Admiral. He's going to have you pulled over again. 3 times in 1 week. Not one of those cops acted in the remotely interested in catching a bad guy. 44% increase in dead women from domestic violence, which stalking is. So I'm going to do the disclaimer real quick. Use allegedly. Apply the about 4 legal standard. Apply the reasonable, prudent, individual standard, which Mr. Perry cannot do. Can't do it. Doesn't have those wires. Just like Neil here. And I get the same thing. I'm going to get you. I'm going to take. I'm going to get. And I'm like, oh my God, get the fuck out of my phone. Shut the hell up and get out of my phone. Threaten me to my face. But wear a helmet and a vag protector, because I'll I'm sorry, but you're a girl. You just are. I wish you would just trans over. If you're going to act like a girl, do the Caitlyn Jenner thing and trans over, because you're whatever it is, you're not sure. You don't know if you're a guy or girl, whatever your problem is. It's becoming crime causation, and it's affecting my life at this point, sir. Because you're way far out there from this one. This one's bad. You're by far worse. You're very, very deviant. Very deviant. Because I don't think he's probably even contemplated kidnapping this girl right here. And you're actually making those kind of phone calls. Who's telling on me? Is it Medicare? Is it Macy's? You know how often I go to Macy's? Never. I don't go to Macy's. I go to Dillard's. I go to Kohl's. I don't even go to Macy's. Is it your hotel? What hotel? I sleep in my car. I mean, constantly typing this stuff in my phone, and I'm like, I wouldn't help you continue to ruin my life if I did know who your leaks are. There's only 3 people that know, and I'm not one of those 3. I want for you to be gone. What about that is hard to understand? How many different ways can we say that for you to understand? Get a special ed teacher to help you understand, or a nurse. If it were me, if I had, your friend said, you better be glad she said no. Because that girl, you're going through some mental something. And I think at that point, they didn't know you had Huntington's disease. Everybody just knew something was wrong with you. Alzheimer's, we thought it was Alzheimer's or senile dementia. Because you have to repeat yourself all the time for you. And the guy goes, you'll leave something incriminating laying around and she'll have you locked up in 24 hours. Or in a nursing home. I mean, you need to be in a fucking nursing home. But she's trying to reason with him, and I try to reason with Mr. Perry, and there's no reasoning with crazy. And you can't fix stupid. You either get it or you don't. When you commit the crime against Cynthia, you get caught. Every day for 10 years. You have to want to get caught, or you'd stop. Logic would tell you. So apply all that, legal, reasonable, prudent individual. I assert all constitutional rights, especially equal, not limited to, but especially equal protection against misogyny and gender bias. I've been driving around looking at cars. I'm like license plate hunting. I'm gonna start taking pictures of all the license plates that are way more expired than mine. Mine's barely expired. There's some going the year and 2 years back. How are they driving all over Tulsa and not getting towed? How is that possible? And I asked that officer, the third one that pulled me over, you know how many license plates and tags I see expired? They're driving all over Tulsa. You're not pulling. I don't see you pulling them over. I've been pulled. You're the third guy this week. So that's not. I'm sorry, but that's not normal, sir. I said I want you to pull a list on your computer to tell me how many times. Is it in your computer? Yes, but I'm busy sitting on the side of the road watching people drive by. I have shit to do. Bye bye. I gotta go. I'm like, oh wow. Zero interest in catching a bad guy. None. Couldn't have given a shit. 44% increase since 2020 in dead domestic violence victims. And that's why right there. They don't give a shit. That's not how you do police. That's not policing. I don't know what the hell that is. It's not policing. Every question that I ask, I'm trying to find out, are you here normal for your normal duties? Or are you here for Perry? And I'm going to find out. I promise you. You won't even know that's what I'm doing. And he didn't. And the first guy didn't. And the second guy didn't. None of them did. Nor did Gene Mitchell or Travis Myers. And I established it. And I explained that. How I did that. And none of them knew that's what I was trying to do. I've said it now. So the next one, if I sting up. I mean, you guys made me really good at sting upping. I didn't have a choice. I go into my work. 20 guys in the same night want to know what my shoe size is and my height. 20 of them in one night. And I'm like, they're trying to frame me for a murder. There's no other reason they would want my shoe size and my height. And I've been dancing 6 years. Not even one person asked me that, ever. So why are 20 in one night asking me that? So you guys made me good at the sting up. I mean, I was already pretty good at it, but I got better. I had practice. I had to get better and better and better at it. So this guy, you can't reason with him. I mean, he doesn't even make sense. And here the repeat.
That's okay. I don't care.
Leave me alone. I don't want proof of this. Please leave me alone. Please leave me alone. Leave me alone. Please.
Just talk to me for 2 minutes. I'll leave you alone.
Oh my God. It's too damn early for this shit. Leave me alone.
How do you dress like this? What are you a prostitute? I'm curious.
Sir, please leave.
That's okay. I don't care.
Leave me alone.
All you want.
I don't want proof of this. Please leave me alone. Please leave me alone. Leave me alone. Please.
Just talk to me for 2 minutes and I'll leave you alone.
Oh my God. It's too damn early for this shit. Leave me alone.
How do you dress like this? What are you a prostitute? I'm curious.
Sir, please leave.
All right, this is not normal conduct. It's very deviant. It's very offensive. It's menacing, and it's called stalking. And stalking requires a pattern of harassment. You can't just do it once. If you read Curry versus Streeter, I think it is, it actually talks about when an officer in the state of Oklahoma does not have a qualified immunity. So if he's out of jurisdiction and off duty, as the one in that case. Was, I guess he threatened somebody at school, and he did it once. So the judges ruled that, okay, well, this is not stalking, because you have to have a pattern. It can't just happen once. And the second thing is we're going to go ahead and rule on qualified immunity. This guy was off duty and at the school, out of jurisdiction, off duty, no qualified immunity. He's not on duty. So the Supreme Court already established that. Anyways, okay, so as it turns out, I'm not a stupid stripper. I can read a case and understand it. Just fine. Mr. Perry wanted everybody to think I'm a stupid stripper, and I needed mental health care. He has me ordered to see a mental health professional. Well, I did for a long fucking time, 1.5 years, twice a month for an hour or two per visit. And she said, Mr. Perry can't get attention. He's trying to hurt you. He can't get attention any other way. He's like my mentally disabled patients. And he'll poke and poke and poke and poke, and you need to ignore it. But sometimes what you got with Charles is he'll escalate more than you can ignore. And she wrote in her letter, she's afraid of him because he's a threat. He poses a threat to her. Why wouldn't she be? First of all. Second of all, he's an intrusion in her life she does not like. Man, when they first did that, I'm like, God, what in the hell is this? And God's like, I'm going to cause them to fall in the pit they dug for me. And I thought that was it right there. And I was like, thank you, Lord. You kept your promise. And God was like, oh, I'm not done yet. He's going to get not diabetes, not cancer, not heart disease, not respiratory disease, a mental illness that not only causes mental illness, but mental retardation. He can't reason cognitively at all. Can't do it. You can sit down and explain something to him, he will not understand you. And it is very frustrating to deal with. The thing is, I'm not required to deal with it. I don't have to deal with that. That is for your wife, your kids, your pastor, your doctor, your family, your friends in Lubbock. You don't get to impose that on me. So what's the crime causation here? Is it that, coupled with your sexual confusion as to whether or not you're male or female? Whether you like men or women? If you like women, you do what women like. You do absolutely nothing women like. You do everything that repulses women. And then you said, well, why doesn't she like me? I ruined her life. I took everything she loves. Everything she worked for. Why doesn't she like me? Gee, what could it be? What could it be? I don't want that in my life. I didn't invite you here. I don't care what you think. You didn't give 2 fucks what I thought when you took everything I owned and threw it in a dumpster and have me sleeping in my car. So why would I care what you think? You're the criminal. I didn't invite you here. You're in my state where I live. I've lived in Oklahoma 9 years, trying to kick you off me the whole time. It's a thing called rape, when you force yourself on a woman that doesn't like you. See, the rest of the world sees it like this. Menace.
Leave me alone! Please!
Just talk to me for 2 minutes.
First, let me say that I'm happy that the lady in this video is okay. Second, let me break down what rape culture is. Rape culture is the fact that that man felt that he was entitled to some of this woman's time just because he said, let me talk to you for 2 minutes. Doesn't matter if it's 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 20 minutes. If she said no, no means no. Rape culture is the comments that she has on her video about how she should have just spoke to him or dressed differently. Rape culture is me taking the heat for calling out other men for their terrible behavior. Rape culture is trying to explain stuff as, oh, it's just locker room talk. No, it's not locker room talk. You should talk the same way wherever you are. We all know that rape is not about sex, it's about power. So for you to force yourself on somebody, even if you're just talking to them, is disgusting, dude.
Steph got been raping you? That's okay, I don't care.
Leave me alone.
All you want.
I don't want proof of this. Please leave me alone.
Hey, men, leave women the fuck alone. When they're in public, when they're doing anything, you don't have the right to their attention. You don't have the right to step into their personal space. You don't have the right to them, especially if they're making it very clear they don't want to be talked to. But even when they're not, unless a woman is giving you enthusiastic and continuous body language and signs that she wants to talk to your ugly dumbass, then leave her the fuck alone. Find a date a different way. Okay? It's not clever. It's not cool. It's not cute. It's garbage. It's absolute garbage behavior. And you're a garbage person if you do it. I don't care if it's in public. It doesn't fucking matter. You don't have the right to her. And you need to leave her alone. And this is Bacon.
That's okay, I don't care.
Leave me.
Okay, so I'm gonna talk about, speak to three things right here. First of all, okay, so when I'm like 20, 21, 22, somewhere there, my dad was a police officer and had like police in Roswell. As I'm growing up, didn't make shit. They didn't make a whole lot of money, and on top of that, he had a substance abuse problem. That's why he became a Teen Challenge of New Mexico director. He had law enforcement background and he had a substance abuse problem, and a bad one. He was drinking, alcoholic, and he was doctor shopping. He went to 3 different doctors and got the full prescription of tranquilizers and Valium from all 3 doctors. So my childhood was a little tricky. When my dad came home, we had to hide, literally. We had to hide. Okay, you're a cop listening to this. You know exactly what I mean by that. We had to hide out. Don't come out of your bedroom when your dad comes home. My dad could have been a fucking excellent cop. He is. I think once you're a cop, you don't really stop being a cop, but he got a little abusive with people that he pulled over and shit because of the substance abuse. And I was told that he was told, you can resign or you can be fired, but you can't keep doing this. So clearly with my granddad, that did not set well with the rest of the family, and it caused a lot of problems and a lot of disappointment that he would do something like that. And of course, being his kid, I didn't know what was going on at the time, but I wish he would not have done that. And he people do what they do. So he quit drinking and he quit doing the drugs and shit, but he really didn't stop being an alcoholic. I don't speak to my dad now. He's done some pretty horrible things to me. So I don't know how to put it, except that my grandparents saw him as the family disappointment, and I wish that, I feel like that could have been better, because I've watched my dad do law enforcement work, and he was good at it. My dad also has a very funny personality. He's very humorous. So I feel like the bad took away from the good, and it didn't need to. But he's a grown-ass man, so that's his thing. Anyways, so our life was a lot about what you can't have. You can't afford it, because Lynn spent all his money on the drugs and the alcohol, what little bit a cop would make. So when you grow up, kind of a lot about you can't have this and you can't have that. My grandparents helped us quite a lot. If I got a gift that I wanted really bad, my grandparents gave it to us. So thank God they were there to do that. But the mindset after you get after you kind of grow up like that. It did two things for me, though. I got to be able to walk in a room, and I could judge very quickly whether it was safe to walk in the room or I needed to still hide. So you get to very good at walking into our room and reading it. You don't have a choice. If you grow up in that, an abusive home, alcohol abuse causes the person to get abusive. Well, you start learning how to read a room very, very quickly. You don't have a choice at a very young age, so I can do that. So number two is that, so I turned like 20, 21, and a couple of people tell me, you need to listen to Anthony Robbins. So I get Anthony Robbins CDs and go through the whole course of 30-day unlimited power, whatever. And the core thing is, if you're not getting the results you want, stop doing what you're doing. Change course. If you want to drive to LA, you can't go east. You'll end up in New York. You have to drive west. You don't have a choice. You can drive west. I mean, you can drive east and tell everybody and swear up and down, I want to go to LA. Nobody's going to believe you because you're driving east. I'm sorry, but it looks like you want to go to New York. You can want that road to take you to LA all day and all night. It isn't going to do it. You're going to have to get on the road going west if you want to go to LA. Period. You have to. You can't wish it different. You can't. So life is like that. If you want to achieve a goal, then you have to have a strategy. And then once you have the strategy, you have to execute that strategy with precision and accuracy, and then reevaluate. And if something's not working, you got to adjust it. We do that now to this day. So what the results were then is that I had, pretty good success in my career in medical. I was 18 and got slayed with credit cards. When you get 18 and you had back then, and you have a job, you can fog a mirror and you got a job, you will get mail. They will fucking mail them to you. I had every fucking credit card you can imagine. I had MasterCard, Visa, Discover, Broadway, Southwest, which I think now is Macy's, Dillard's. I mean, I had fucking every credit card you could, and 18 years old. Well, I ran them all up to 15 grand. I owed 15 grand by the time I was 19 years old. I couldn't pay it. Well, as soon as I start selling medical, now I can. I had that paid off in 90 days. I had a brand new car. I mean, not a brand new car, but a fairly new car. I had an apartment, and I had brand new furniture that I bought with cash. If that tells you how fast I made money doing, that. And then, like I said, I think I said it earlier, or yesterday, or maybe a day or two ago, I had an employee that stole from me. She stole $90,000. I knew she was stealing from me. I got confrontational with her about it. But she was pregnant and hard to replace because her skill set was unique. Not just everybody was trained to do what she did. She was above a regular PT in that she had 135 extra hours in lymphedema training. There were clinics all across the country that did manual lymph drainage for lymphedema, which actually now Kim Kardashian gets that done just for kicks. There's clinics in LA that just do it for health. And we did it for lymphedema. Then we were the first to do it for lymphedema. It started in Germany, actually. And then the equipment, they either do the physical therapy or the equipment. My clinic was one of about 10 in the country that did both. So I have this therapist. I'm one of 10 in the country that does both. She's stealing from me. And there's only like 2 other PTs in town. They're not really looking for a change. They're already at clinics. I'm stressing out. I'm like, what am I going to do here? So if I had it to do over again, I would have just fired her ass and trusted God to bring me the right person. Even if it meant I had to shut it down for a little bit. But I really was trying not to do that. I had patients right in the middle of treatment. And it was a complicated mess. She's about to have a kid. I'm trying not to be an asshole about it. But she stole about $90,000 from me. And when I started my company, I had no capital. My ex-husband and I were $1,500 a month in the hole. We had just moved. And so I'm like, I start my company, and within the same thing, within about 30 to 60 days, we're not in the hole anymore. We're doing good. If within about a year I can expand and I hire a therapist, And so, I mean, I was making pretty good money. Also, so I'm like, I could do that again. I can just start over again. Well, I at this point, I'd been in it 20 years. I'm tired of fighting with insurance companies who are trying to find a way not to pay me. I just got burned out on that, and I just got to a point where I just didn't want to do it anymore. My job was my passion. I really enjoyed what I did for a living for 20 years, and then it got to a point where I just didn't. So at that point, it's time to quit. You're dealing with people who are sick, and they don't need your bad attitude. So I felt like at that point, when I'm not passionate about my job anymore, it's time for me to find a different job, because I'm not gonna put that dissatisfaction, the burnout onto my sick patients. I'm just not going to do that to them. So it's time for me to stop. But my business had receivables enough to continue to pay to support my family and I for a year, even with the theft. So I mean, I did pretty well. I've always done very well until Mr. Perry comes in and takes the money faster than I can make it, or jams up my computer. I mean, I should be making, our forensic accountant tells us $100 to $150 a day, $200, so somewhere around $600 to $800 a week door dashing. So why am I making, $30 or $60? Because Mr. Perry's making sure I don't make anything. He said, by your third year, you should have been making six figures in dancing. Now, that doesn't mean $600,000. I mean, that means about 100. There's no reason with her person. He interviewed other dancers. He went to other strip clubs. He went to the strip clubs where I worked. He knew Mr. Perry was renting him out, renting off all the paying customers, and sending his 6 guys in with canned food. And buy from everybody but her. She hurt my feelings. What about how I feel when you take my money? See, you don't give 2 fucks about that. You're a married man heading on a woman who doesn't like you. What about how Jacqueline feels? See, you want everybody else to hear about how you feel, and I need a lie, and I want it, and I mean it. Whiny, but you're ruining lives, devastating people, betraying your wife and kids. What about how they feel? What about how I feel when you're ruining very key, important relationships? What about how I feel that you have me sleeping in my car? Because you're taking things that don't belong to you. You were never invited here. I didn't introduce you to my family. I would never, ever have taken you around my family. Now, as to my family could have and should have told me what was going on. They didn't. I am not going to hold that against them, but that's there. They could have and should have told me. He's coming over here, and he's telling us XYZ, and we're getting threatened. And I would have taken care of it. This thing would have been over a long time ago. Had about 3 things been different, and that's one of them. That's one of the 3 things. Our guys have a very big case with a whole lot of victims and a whole lot of offenders in a whole lot of jurisdictions. It's global. They got international law to deal with, and they've been able to get a lot of information by nobody knowing who they are. I am not to talk about that, because it would compromise a lot of things. We all want you gone. I'm not going to talk about it, because we all want you gone, Mr. Perry. You are an imposition and a burden everybody is sick and tired of having to deal with. By force, you're making us deal with you. And you don't live here, and you've terrorized and horrified the people in Oklahoma, who have done not a fucking thing to you at all. You got rejected. Boo fucking who. We all do. We all move on. Why can't you? You better start keeping up. You fucking better start keeping up. You have no class. You have no dignity. You don't know how to treat people. You got to read the book, How to Be Nice to People So They Don't Want to Hit You in the Face with a Brick. So, I've been successful. I know how to make money. These guys that know me watched me do that. They celebrated with me when I got my I'd paid off my $15,000 in debt. I bought a car, and it was my first finance car, so I was able to put a down payment on it, and I did that by myself. I have Mr. Perry get out of my phone. He just typed in my phone, "I'm taking your car." Okay, duly noted. You've said that every day for years, since August 2019. It's not legal, but I'll have her car towed and sold before she figures that out. Yep, you tried it all day. Last night, you wanted me to drive down Memorial to have a cop pull me over and take my car. Today it was Admiral. I took a different route both times because the more you take from me, we take something from you. It's called intel. It's been that way for 10 years. What does the McNamara email mean? Anybody know? What does it mean that we have that? What does it mean that we have names of people working on your team of crooks? What does it mean that you've been caught more than ever in your life when you do it to me? Yeah, I'm talking to a crazy person who can't reason. I don't know what's wrong with the rest of you. So, there was 2 cops. One of them said, I'm not going to be the one to do this to her. So when she blows by, because they're going to call me and tell me when she's blowing by, they hacked her phone. They got her GPS'd. I'm going to go pee. I don't have time for that. I don't want to do it. And another one that said, I'm busy. I'm not going to harass her for you. And another one that said, I got real crimes. I'm actually out catching bad guys. I'm going to have good results and outcomes. My name's on my work, my reputation. And the third one that said, she knows he wants her pulled up. He wants her to make her take her car, make her eat out of a dumpster, or she can sign his letter of apology and affidavit that he wrote, not his words, not hers. Force her by force. And make her go back to Texas where he can do something to her. Worse, bad, something really bad. And the guy said, well, she knows about it. Yeah, she knows about it. She's talked about it quite a lot. Okay, that's wacky. He's wacky. Isn't he mentally impaired? Yeah. Okay, well, I'm a police officer, and I'm not going to sign my name to a whack job's bad decision. Well, you may not have a choice. Yep, I'm a police officer. I do have a choice. I said no. So those are the guys we all respect, right? Not the ones that kiss your ass. I don't get it. I really don't. 3 of them. No effort no interest in catching a bad guy. I'm here, officer, because I have a stalker. Who killed the cop, by the way? You heard of the Neely thing? Yeah. Okay, well, we all know that you can't beat a guy to death and have not an injury on you. Nothing, not a mark. While you're drugged and unconscious, we both know that, right? Yeah. Reasonable, prudent individuals would say he didn't do it. Okay, well, I testified to that. I'm the one that caught that. And they're retaliating. The guys that actually did that cop killing, retaliating. So they're taking my money to have me pulled over, to have my car taken, to force me to lie about what we don't know, or kill me. Oh, okay. Well, let me go write you a ticket. Jesus Christ of Nazareth, what in the world? What in the world? That is not being a cop. I don't know what the hell that was. So, for us, who are catching all this shit before he does it, because I've been talking about the pullovers and taking my car, now it's the kidnapping, now don't go down Memorial tonight, or don't go on Admiral this afternoon. He's got a DoorDash order coming through your phone around an algorithm that picks DoorDash drivers randomly so that you'll go down that road and he can do it, finally. We've been talking about it. So it's going to give you another, I told you so. I did say. And Cuckoo Bird can't put that together. You're already caught. So, anyways, it's just, it gives me a headache in my eye. Like an aneurysm, like blood squirting out my ears from the, oh God, how do you deal with somebody like this? How do you do it? I fucking can't do it. I'm not a special ed teacher. I'm not a shrink. I'm not trained for that. You know what I can do? Sting up a cop. And went right there. That's what I was looking for right there. I want to see, are you here for the police to catch a bad guy? Or are you here for Mr. Perry to harass me? So, I'll see you in court. We can sort that all out in court. I'm not going to argue here with you. We can sort it out in court. The one guy said, can you look up in your computer how many times I've been pulled over and who pulled me over? Well, probably, but I'm busy sitting on the side of the road watching cars go by, so I don't have time. Oh, Jesus. Okay, again, no interest in catching a bad guy. And a cop killer. We don't leave cop family behind. Actually, guys, we are all cop family. 4 generations of cop I come from. We're all cop family. We don't leave cop family behind. And this is actually about what happened with Chief Miller and Lucky Miller. Michael Neely and Chief Miller. So, because I'm trying to grab, here's the way I see Michael Neely, is that I'm grabbing his hands, and I'm telling him, I'm pulling you out of this, dude. And God Almighty is putting his hands around mine and Michael's and pulling him out of captivity into freedom back to his family from some very bad men who tried to take his life. And it wasn't his day. He's got a story to tell. God wants him to tell. And you don't get to get in the way of that. You start getting in the way of that, you're going to have problems with God. And then you end up with a disease like Huntington's. And you fall in the pit you dug for me. And how many times have I said, here's your shovel, dig away? God isn't mocked, you reap what you sow. That's just the way that is. You can't plant corn and get cucumbers. You can't drive west and end up in New York. It doesn't matter what you wish it was. It doesn't matter what you tell everybody else it is. It is what it is. It is the laws of God. You throw something up in the air, there's a thing called the law of gravity. It is going to come back down, and sometimes it's going to hit you in the head if you're too stupid to get out of the way. Period. That's the way it is. And that's the thing I got from Robbins, and from Dr. Phil says the same thing. You either get it or you don't. This is life. This is what's real. Get it or you don't. If you don't get it, you're not going to get results that you want. You're going to get shit. So, you better get a grip on reality. You better deal with here's how things really are. Not, I wish in my wish land is like this. Well, okay, but look at what's happening here. You have no date. You have no interest, nobody interested in a date with you. You're getting kicked off. I've been kicking you off me for 9 years after I moved twice to get away from you. And you're told on and told on and told. Your crime has never been this caught in your lives, all of you. It's not happened. Because, people see you like this.
I don't want proof of this. Please leave me alone.
Hey, men, leave women the fuck alone. When they're in public, when they're doing anything, you don't have the right to their attention. You don't have the right to step into their personal space. You don't have the right to them. Especially if they're making it very clear they don't want to be talked to. But even when they're not, unless a woman is giving you enthusiastic and continuous body language and signs that she wants to talk to your ugly dumbass, then leave her the fuck alone. Find a date a different way. Okay? It's not clever. It's not cool. It's not cute. It's garbage. It's absolute garbage behavior. And you're a garbage person if you do it. I don't care if it's in public. It doesn't fucking matter. You don't have the right to her. And you need to leave her alone. And this is bacon.
That's okay.
Alright, so, we always focus on, because of Anthony Robbins, he's a multi-gazillionaire. So he's doing something right. So you got to listen to what he says, and that's what it all is you set your goals, and you deal with reality. And you can't say I'm going to be a spaceman and fly to the moon if you've not had any kind of training in that at all. You can't do it. I'm 53 years old. I cannot go into a hospital I can't go over to Hillcrest or St. Francis and walk in there and apply for the job of a surgeon. I've not been to medical school. I couldn't do it. I have to be realistic. I might want to be a surgeon. I actually don't, but let's say hypothetically I did. I could say I could walk in there and go, human resources, I would like very much to apply for the job of heart surgeon or brain surgeon. And they'd be like, okay, where's your degree? Did you go to school to learn how to do that? Nope, but I really want to do it. And Anthony Robbins said I could do whatever I want to do. Right? Okay. Well, they would call TPD crisis management and lock me in the fruitcake farm if I said that. You have to be realistic. I didn't go to medical school. I can't be a brain surgeon. Can't do it. Okay. If you get caught every time you do a crime to me, 10 years every day, and you can't tell you're doing something to cause that, people fucking hate you for what you're putting me and Mike through. They just do. When you do something illegal, chances are high it's illegal because people don't like it when you do that. And they decided in all 50 states and federally witness tampering is offensive. And you're not going to do it. You do it, you go to jail. We're not tolerating that in a civilized society. We're not. Abuse of power, same thing. Right? There's a thing called Title 18 of the United States Code 1512 and 1513. You can't obstruct justice. You can't destroy evidence. And you can't tamper with the witness. And you can't retaliate against a witness or a victim. Either one. You can't tamper with victims or witnesses. And yet you're doing it. And then you get told on, I found out you trafficked me before you were I'm not trafficked now. I found out you had Huntington's disease. I found out you didn't tell me. Cops told me. And nobody will tell you who or who. Well, why would they do that? We all want for you to be gone. You're imposing your crime on us, and we don't like it. You weren't invited to Oklahoma. And I'm sorry you get your little feelings hurt, but guess what? You didn't give two shits what we felt when you took Lucky's life from his kids. We can't get him back. When you've ruined Mike's reputation and tried to kill him too. He's locked up where you should be. And you guys are on patrol. The next one that has to pull me over. You need to understand. This is important to me. We're a cop family. I come from 4 generations. It doesn't get any more cop family than me or Mike. You don't leave one behind. You don't do it. And you don't harass one that's trying to... I'm sleeping in my car to try to help that man. And I'm not thinking twice about it. It's just what you do. It's unimaginable not to. I don't understand people that would just let it try to... let's just try to forget he exists. No, fuck no. He's a person, and that's inhumane. It's very inhumane. If there's a threat to your safety and your well-being and you're scared, come see me. I have help. You think they're not going to help you? They'll help you. They'll help anybody. But you got to talk to me. I can't help you if I don't know. Kind of the same thing with my family. There's nothing I can do if you won't tell me what's happening. If you tell me what's happening, I can do a lot more. There are certain things that we're gonna, tolerate in our, what did Bill O'Reilly said? You get the government you ask for, and he was talking about Iraq at the time when Saddam Hussein was in rule, and there was atrocities happening. The boys, Uday and Qusay, would walk into a school and pick out a 14-year-old little girl and take her out, rape her, and kill her. And that family never saw her again. Can you imagine sending your daughter to school and that could happen? What would you do? Would you send her? What would you do? What would you fucking do? You get what you ask for, what you're tolerating. And why would we tolerate a murder of a police officer and attempted of another in a frame-up? Why would we put up with that? I'm not. Why are you? Mr. Guy who just pulled me over. Why? You're too busy to look and see how many guys have pulled me over and who all pulled me over and why? Because you got to sit on the side of the road and watch cars, guy. That's what you were doing when I saw you. Sitting on the side of the road watching people drive by. I was pretty far down the road by the time you started following me. Pretty far fucking down the road. So why? I wasn't speeding. I don't. Why would you leave your cop family behind? And here I am trying to help Mike, and that's what this is, retaliation. Kidnapper. Shut her up somehow. We gotta shut her up. She's talking about the crime. You can't solve a problem unless you talk about it. And you don't have good results and good outcomes that you could be proud of unless you're getting the job done. And that's the job, is it not? Nobody is able to know at this point what my title is. You don't get to know that. It's a need to know. Part of the need to know. I'm not a cop. I sure as shit, I'm not a patrol. So here's the thing with patrol. Is patrol does a lot of shit I could not do. Don't even want to do. But I'm doing shit they can't do. I just sting off 3 of them. They didn't have any idea that's what I was doing. I'm not against them. There's a thing called you augment each other's talents. There are things that I'm not dropping hints, Mr. Perry, delusional. So, sometimes when I'll talk about a certain police agency, he thinks that that's a hint. It's not a hint. I'm just doing a hypothetical here. You have overseas, for example, when we go to war, when we, like in Benghazi or we had in Iraq, you have two things going on. You have the CIA is gathering intelligence, and that intelligence is then passed on to the military, so that the military knows where to hit. And so they are all working together. Now the military, I believe, has their own intelligence as well, but they often work together, and the CIA people cannot do what the military does unless maybe they're former military, and the military can't do what the CIA does as much. I mean, they augment each other. It is, one is better, I mean, two can do more than one. Two people with different skill sets working together can accomplish some amazing things. We have one of the best militaries in the world, and if we used it to its extent, we wouldn't have the problems that we had in Iraq. We wouldn't have had the problems we had in Vietnam. We wouldn't have had the problems that we've had in a lot of places. I believe that had our military and our CIA been able to do the job they wanted to do, not held back by politicians who wanted to be politically correct about everything, I believe that shit would have been taken care of in 30 days. Boom. Problem solved. Restore order to these countries. Get them on some different footing where they've got a democracy and some freedom. But they didn't. They went in and they had people who did. Mr. Perry, please get out of my phone. I don't care what you think. I'm not sure why you think I do. Delusional. I really don't. You didn't give two fucks what I thought when you have me sleeping in my car. I don't care what you think. What's Jackie think about you bothering me all the time? Oh, you're chasing a woman, and you're a married man. A woman that doesn't even like you. Get the fuck out of my phone. I truly am sick and tired. He'll type in my phone like he thinks it's a conversation because he's a whack job. It's not a conversation, and you shouldn't even know what I'm doing right now. This is a recording, not a phone call. Yeah, how embarrassing for you. Really, it's embarrassing for you. My job was to get him elected, and that was that. And I got thrown into a situation after that to where I'm kind of forced to become a Sherlock here, and I do have the ability to sting up very, very well. I suck at everything, but not that. I can do that in my sleep. I can do it in... I guess somebody said that. I'm listening to her talk to these people, and I had no fucking idea. Even I didn't know what she was doing until she explained it. And then I was like, wow, that's exactly what she did. I'm looking for XYZ, and she found it. And if you just listen to her talking to him, you don't know that. Once you listen to her explain, here's what I'm looking for, then you're like, wow, that's how good she is. Even I didn't know that's what she was doing until I heard her explain it. So, if you're patrol, then you've been asked to pull me over again, please know that we all know you've been asked to pull me over again and again and again, because I took the time to look into the murder of a police officer, that there were things that didn't look right. And being I know how to do what I do, and I have help, and I have been raised in a fucking police department and cut my teeth on my granddad's badge, who was the chief of police in Roswell, and my great-granddad, the captain of detectives. Keeping in mind, back then, my granddad retired in the 70s. Back then, you didn't have the forensic science technology that we have now. It is gumshoe. So imagine how I'm taught. Gumshoe. But I'm also in my third year of criminal justice school, so I've learned some of the forensics that we have now. Fascinating stuff. Some of it's not even admissible in court just yet. But hopefully it will be soon. Also, these days, you can watch Discovery Channel, and there's Forensic Files, there's Crime 360, there's The First 48, there's all kinds of stuff on television to where the average public knows what a police officer does, right? And one of my favorite TV shows on Hulu is Only Murders in the Building. So at the very beginning of it, there's a murder in the building, and the cops walk in, and there's some of the residents of the building start talking to the cop about, oh, I think it's this and I think it's that. And the cop makes a joke like, oh, God, don't tell me you're a podcaster who thinks he's, wannabe detective. I mean, it's just kind of getting to be that kind of a society where everybody takes this interest in crime solving. So even your average citizen and some attorneys have complained, prosecutors have complained that they have a hell of a time convincing a jury of the offender's guilt when there's not the DNA evidence present that you might see on, say, Las Vegas CSI or forensic files and all that stuff. And sometimes there's not. Sometimes the guy did it, you got some good circumstantial evidence, but you don't have a bunch of blood. Mr. Perry, oh my gosh. He types in my phone, I have it. You have what? You have circumstantial evidence of what? Everybody know for the record, he said he has circumstantial evidence for something. Didn't ask you, did I? You're very, very rude. You need to get some manners. So, anyways, see, this is my whole day. I'm trying to do my thing. School, work, my thing. I don't want any contact from Mr. Perry at all. And he'll type this shit in my phone, doesn't even make sense. We're threats. I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna take your car. And oh my gosh. All day, every day. Please get the fuck out of my fucking phone. So you got even everybody. I mean, fucking any Joe Blow almost can kind of explain a little bit about DNA evidence and blood splatter. Everybody likes Dr. Henry Lee. I love Dr. Henry Lee. I like to watch. He's got a show. I like to watch his shows. Cast Off and all that stuff is very interesting to me. Probably more than DNA is. The patterns. I like patterns. I don't know. Anyway, so the public has been inundated with TV shows like that, and even the public knows. So sometimes the juries, when that stuff is absent, they have a hard time convicting because they're expecting it. They've watched it on TV. Why isn't it in this courtroom? And it's not always available in every case. So that's been a complaint of a lot of prosecutors. So there's that. Anyways, when you pull me over, whoever does next, please understand that I took the time to read Mike Neely's entire docket, and my guess is you haven't. And Michael Neely is a police officer from Manford, Oklahoma, and part of the Cobb family. And Chief Miller was the chief of police from Manford, Oklahoma. So it's not just Cobb family, these two. They're Oklahomans. And we got these guys coming in from Texas who have taken the life of a police officer, part of our Cobb family.
Every student deserves the opportunity to...
Part of our Cobb family. He's not a Cobb family. He's an offender. And this is our Cobb family, and this is our state. And he hurt some people here, and he's terrorizing people here. And you're going to pull me over because you're going to punish me for him, for doing what I'm doing for Cobb family. Because in my mind, I can't imagine the inhumanity, if whether you're a cop or not, the inhumanity of leaving a person wrongfully convicted sitting in jail away from their family. And the real offender out continuing to make more victims. I can't imagine it. So, making matters worse, it's Cobb family. And I take that very seriously. I've been willing to sleep in my car to make sure that Officer Neely has a voice. Because I'm not hearing him talk. I'm grabbing his arms and I'm praying to God, put your hands around my hands and his and pull this man out back to his wife and kid. And vindicate him publicly the same way that he was smeared. And cause these men who did this to him to fall in the pit they dug for him as you did for me. And so when you pull me over, I want you to understand that's what you're dealing with. And that's what you're doing. You're participating in retaliation for my testimony, because I got in touch with the DA, the prosecutor, the Florida State's attorney, who asked me if I'm a cop, by the way. Right after he said, what do you do for a living? I'm a stupid stripper. Oh, so are you a cop? Are you in law enforcement? Oh, Jesus. Well, no. I'm not in law enforcement. I'm working with law enforcement. It's not the same thing. Not that I owe you an explanation. You're fucking asking me all the wrong questions right now, dude. Because what you should have asked me is, how'd you know Mike Neely was drugged before anybody else said it and depositions were taken? And how'd you know Gene Mitchell, what his legal argument was going to be before he made it? Because you told him not to do it. It was not plausible. And it wasn't. And it was completely opposite what he told the media months before. How did you know those two very key factors? Didn't ask me that. Why is he asking me if I'm a cop? Why is he asking me that? Did you tell him to ask me that? I mean, where did that question come from? I mean, I'd want to know. I want to know where the question came from. And then, I don't testify for Officer Neely. Well, you can't conceal, when you have a duty to disclose a material fact that could change the outcome of the deciding body, and you intentionally conceal it, that is perjury. And Mr. Perry and Mr. Powell's calls telling them don't let her testify is suborning perjury. And I've gone through that whole thing. I'm not going to go through it again. I've got the case law cited. I'm a stupid stripper, but I can read case law. So I have that cited all over the fucking place. And I'm not going to recite it, and I'm not going to re-go through that. So I think it's like U.S. versus Strom and Vreeland versus U.S. or something like that, where it goes through and it describes what constitutes suborning perjury and perjury by way of concealment of a material fact that could change the outcome of the body. Well, everybody knows if I testified for Officer Neely and if I'm telling the judge and the jury, here's the thing. I just filed a vandalism report with Mr. Neely, Officer Neely. And I said, I don't know who did it, but it's likely stalking related, just so you know. That's one place to look. It doesn't mean it is, but I would say the chances are high. There's always possible somebody else did it. Here, they got one of these guys staying. He's got his employees staying 3 doors down, and by the way, one of those rooms is covered with the same powder that's in my trunk. So, you know, you're the detective. You do your thing, and then let me know. Not even a week. I don't think he even had a chance to finish that up. And his boss is dead, and he's accused. And I'm looking at it, and I'm looking at the dude, and I'm going, he doesn't have any injuries. Well, if you're in a fight, you're gonna have a bruise. And he was in not just a fight, but one that killed the other guy, and he's got nothing on him, not a mark. So something's up. What happened? Okay, well, if any policeman can look at that and go, well, he didn't do it. There's no way. And I'm telling the jury that, you know good and well, the jury's not going to come back with a guilty verdict unless they got bought. And if they got bought, then let's find out who bought them. How much did you pay them? We can always look into that too. If I can quote your conversation this morning about kidnapping me, you think we can't get that? Yeah, you don't think anything through, that's for sure. So, we're cop family, and we have an officer down in need of assist over in Florida who was coaxed to Florida, indicating premeditation, indicating there wasn't just a fight, random, let's just say Mr. Perry, Mr. Robertson went over, and whoever else, and things got out of hand, and they didn't mean to do it. Bullshit, because they coaxed them to Pensacola outside of Oklahoma, and then texted me and said, how'd you know Mike had to be coaxed? Yeah, you like the coaxing, but we don't go for the coaxing, Mr. Perry, because we are on to the coaxing. So, there's that. So when you pull me over, please understand what you're pulling over. Okay? Understand the situation, and please know I'm gonna outsting up. I'm gonna do it. I can't help it. It's just who I am. It's what I do. I don't even know how not to. So all three of them, I'm looking for them to tell me, are you a cop? Are you here for the police? And I'm reporting a crime right now because this is kind of part of it. It's domestic violence. We don't have impressive domestic violence numbers right now. It's also retaliation for my testimony because once they made the decision not to let me testify, I did it anyway. I'm kind of like that. I'm kind of fuck you. I was born with my middle finger up at the world. You don't get me to subjugate. You just piss me off. And then I'll start kicking and hitting you. And it's not going to be pretty. So what happens is, they've complained about it. We've never had one with this much longevity. Well, you got one that just gets pissed. And some people are like me. They just, they're not going to cry and here, won't get me a tissue. And they took my home and they threw all my stuff away. I get pissed and I'll just start kicking your ass. That's just what I am. That's my personality. And so what you have to do is look at outcomes and results. The outcome and result of that is Mr. Perry's crime has never been caught this much in his life. He hid it all his life. And if it's on Facebook, it's not hidden. It's not a secret anymore. We heard you talking about kidnapping me. You piss me off, you piss off the 40 guys helping me. Who, by the way, said, here's what we're going to do because he made you spend Christmas by yourself in your car. And he made sure your family's all together. Your ex-husband is with your son. You're not with your son. He's with your son, not his son. And who the fuck does that? So that was horrible. That was a horrible thing to do to you. So guess what we'll do? When this is over, you're going to get a suite at Caesar's Palace, and we'll make sure you're pampered. We'll make sure that you have a nice fluffy bed and a nice Roman bath and a massage and a spa day, and we'll take you playing craps, and it'll be like old times. And I'm like, okay, cool. Thank you. So we're already planning that. So what the deal is after I file a motion to intervene for Mr. Neely. Please keep in mind, all cop family, I didn't have to do that. I did not have to do that. I could have just said, okay, well, they're not going to let me testify. I did all I could do. I called the attorneys. I told them what I knew. They're not listening. But that's not my personality. My personality is, fuck you. Watch this. I file a motion to intervene. There should have been a hearing on standing. There's nothing. The judge had to decide, does she have the standing to even file this motion? And he didn't. So now we got pattern. Remember, we like to look for patterns. Okay? Because repeat offenders, patrol guys, have a pattern. Okay? So, like drugging two of us, and then when we don't die, within a week, we both end up false arrested. Okay? And both of us are drugged. Arsenic, I'm not tested ever. Opioids, Mr. Neely is tested. Officer Neely is tested after the Narcan, which changed the chemical composition of his blood. We needed to get his blood when he's knocked out. What does his blood look like when he's knocked out that would cause him to be knocked out? Once he's given the Narcan, he comes to. Okay, well, that changed everything. It's degradation of his evidence. Now, we won't have the true picture. I mean, we need to see what his blood looked like when he's knocked out. That caused him to be knocked out. Remember, he didn't have a bump on his head. He wasn't knocked out because he had a concussion and he was hit in the head. And so, how do you have a fight between two people and one guy has no bruise, not hit in the head, but he's knocked out, he's unconscious? Oh, he's drugged. I said it in March 2020. They didn't confirm that until the depositions in May. And nobody said, how did you know, before anybody else said it? Yeah, nobody asked me that in the deposition. So I filed 2 motions to intervene for Officer Neely. There's no hearing. Kind of like with my rent landlord deal on the sealed address confidentiality thing. There's a hearing scheduled, and no, it's all of a sudden dismissed and there's nothing. And the motion to default for Lady Godiva's, and it's the same thing. So remember, we look for patterns. So that's 3 court cases in which there was a hearing scheduled and supposedly not related. Remember, my landlord. But see, the year before, Charles and Calvin, bald fat Calvin, they get recorded telling everybody, telling each other kind of like the kidnapping conversation this morning. We're going to have, we can't take all our money and get her kicked out for non-payment. So let's do it on smoking because there's a COVID moratorium right now. Well, then a couple days later, the fucking bitch did it. She tried to do it. So we're looking for patterns, patrol, because in what we do, our part of this, we want to look for the repeat offenders, right? Okay, but they went after cop family. We don't leave cop family behind, and they're retaliating against me. That's why they want you to pull me over. They took my money just the same way they did we'll take her money so we can get her kicked out of her home and interfere with that contract. Right? It's called retaliation of a victim and a witness of the crime that we're doing. Title 18 of the United States Code 15, 12, 15, 13, and all applicable state laws too. I testify for a police officer, which I read his whole docket and went, the evidence tells me he couldn't have done this. There's no way. The evidence tells me that. I don't know the guy. I met him once. It's no different than the 3 officers that pulled me over. That interaction was exactly like that one time for about 20, 30 minutes. So, if he did it to you, I would do the same thing. I just had that guy pull me over, and apparently he didn't do what David wanted him to do. David Robertson, who thinks he runs TPD. So, David Robertson is desperate for me to leave the state. I'm too much of a threat to his crime, and I have to say that. I mean, he couldn't have given me a bigger compliment. I'm come from 4 generations of police. Only thing that matters in my family, the only thing that matters, you can die happy, is when you're the one that can say, I caught that bad guy. I did it. I caught what everybody else missed. Me. I did that. Nothing else matters, David. Not to me. Not to me. You guys can offer all the kind. Oh, we get this house in Houston. You have to be willing to suck all our buddies' dicks, but you'll have a really nice house in Houston. Well, that doesn't matter to me, and I'm not going to suck anybody's dick. I'll beat the hell out of these people. You don't understand. You don't know me. You guys do not know me. You watch me, and you don't know me at all. And you can't get to LA driving to New York. You can't. You have to know what's in front of you, and you don't. I was born with my middle finger up at the world. I was born like that. God made me like that for this, I think. I really do. Because you're not used to dealing with this. This is, I don't cry. I'll get pissed off and I'll start kicking your ass. That's just me. And somebody needs to. I mean, how many people have you done this to? How many people's lives have you blown up? Mr. Perry, shut up. I don't care what you think. You don't give 2 fucks what I think about you making me sleep in my car. You don't have a date. Nobody's trying to hold your hand. You're by yourself. You're selfish and you're crappy. And so you focus on you, and you is all you got. There's no woman trying to see you. There's no woman trying to go on a date with you. You're a rejected failure, too stupid to figure out how to move on. You're like this guy.
Leave me alone. I don't
Wacky Jackie.
want to pray for this. Please leave me alone.
Hey, men, leave women the fuck alone. When they're in public, when they're doing anything, you don't have the right to their attention. You don't have the right to step into their personal space. You don't have the right to them. Especially if they're making it very clear they don't want to be talked to. But even when they're not, unless a woman is giving you enthusiastic and continuous body language and signs that she wants to talk to your ugly dumbass, then leave her the fuck alone. Find a date a different way. Okay, it's not clever, it's not cool, it's not cute. It's garbage. It's absolute garbage behavior, and you're a garbage person if you do it. I don't care if it's in public, it doesn't fucking matter. You don't have the right to her, and you need to leave her alone. And this is Bacon.
Mr. Perry, you are not loved and you are not wanted. All of you are told on. Your cruelty gets us information. Our kindness gets us information. That's you throw a rock up, it comes down. People do not like what you're doing. You can't get anybody to tell you any name of anybody helping me. Who gave me the Fabian puzzle? Who told me you were talking about kidnapping me this morning? Who told me what road not to drive down? Who did that, David? Men, who are chivalrous, who got the information from somebody that you made very uncomfortable. Very uncomfortable. Charles, you're creepy. You're selfish. You're cruel, and everybody's sick and tired of having to deal with that. You don't live here. David, I didn't pick a fight with you, or Calvin, or Lucius. I don't know you people. I came here to get away from a fight and a monster. So, Patrol, we're looking at patterns, okay? I don't know what else to tell you. We can't leave you can't leave cop family behind. You can't do it. It's unthinkable. So I haven't, and I didn't, and that's why you're being asked to pull me over. Just note it for the record. It is an on-purpose, intentional, malicious act. It was talked about and talked about and talked about and talked about. It has been documented and documented and documented and documented. There are attorneys, Mr. Wishcamper and Mr. Mallory Miller, that have email after email after email after email about that very thing specifically. Because cops somewhere have a recording of Mr. Perry talking about it and talking about it and talking about it. He likes to repeat. Same old, same old, same old. Repeat, repeat, repeat. So we got hundreds of them. So next guy that pulls me over, you need to be aware of that. Know your shit when you talk to me, because I promise I do. I mean, it's just, all that matters to me is outcomes. That's it. Now, my outcomes are such that these men who hid their crimes all their lives do not have it hidden now. It's different when they do it to me, but it's the same every time they do it. Okay? You can wish driving east will get you at LA all day and all night, and it is not going to happen. It will get you to New York. So either you're lying about where it is you want to go, or you're just stupid. I don't know. You tell us. You fucking tell us. Okay, so that's lesson 1. You have to focus on the outcomes, and you have to get real. And if you can't do that, there's your shovel, dig away. But when you get the same results every day for 10 years, I mean, come on. This is not rocket science. You don't have to be Stephen Hawking to see that this is something, you're just not all there. But the problem is, when you're not all there, is crime causation, as we saw with John Hinckley Jr. and Rebecca Schaeffer's killer, and Jodi Arias, and, people who have a disease that cause them to then kill, steal, destroy. Then we are not to tolerate it. We'll have mayhem in this society, in this country. We might as well be Iraq. We don't have to tolerate it. We don't tolerate it. It is against the law. Law enforcement is to enforce the law. Period. And if you pull me over, and I'm telling you, they did this to me on purpose, to have me pulled over, to take my car, then get me in a homeless shelter, to take my computer so I can't finish school, so I can't get school money, and my driver's license so they can traffic me. They planned it out. It's been documented. And there's recordings of them talking about it. Police somewhere else have it. So I've heard him. It's been, I didn't, I'm telling everybody this before they did it, not after. I don't know what else to tell you. Either you get it or you don't. You can either keep up with me or not. There's things with patrol I cannot do. And you can't do what I do. I promise you can't outsting me. I promise you, you cannot outsting me. And I can't do your thing. I can't do it. Okay, so, but we have an officer down in need of an assistant. Because I assisted him, that's why you're pulling me over right now. It's retaliation. Do you know that? Or you should know that. Now I'm putting it on a podcast. Mr. Perry thinks he can kidnap me and nobody will, nobody will report it. So it won't hit the news. Well, but somebody will notice she's just missing, don't you think? Yeah, it won't matter because I told everybody not to report it so that it doesn't hit the news. Yeah, but my guys have that now. They heard you, I heard you say it. They got it. So what courtroom is that going to be played into, Mr. Perry, in your criminal trial? You got to, if we're quoting you as much as we're quoting you, and I'm naming people that work for you, Lucius, Calvin, who's bald and fat, Sanjay, who's a hacker, Beverly, Blankenship, Desiree, James and Ruben, you thought were leaking. You thought Beverly and Kate were leaking. I don't know these people. I've never met them. Muffin Man. If I'm naming people You don't name, you can't name not even one guy or helping me that told me all that. But I'll tell you what he said is, she's not to be broke anymore. You're not to invade her privacy anymore, and you don't contact her again. And if you want our help, I'm happy to help you. I'm not going to help you. The guys will help you, Mr. Perry. You are not to contact me again, or he will not help you. And the longer you drag this out, the less he can do. It's about to be too fucking late. They're about to bang your door down and you go to jail. Pure, that's it. You're gone. And I will never have to deal with this again. I'll never be broke again. We're going to Caesars. So, when you pressure me after I've said no, all you're going to do is piss me off. You're not going to convince me of anything. You're going to piss me off. You're going to convince me that somebody, I was looking at this thing about Jesus is out in the wilderness and he had to fast for like 40 days and 40 nights. And then Satan comes to him and says, how about you jump off this building and I'll give you whatever you want. And don't worry, the angels will catch you. And Jesus is like, yeah, the Bible, it's written, don't tempt the Lord thy God. So I'm thinking, okay, he's the God's son, and he's there when the creation began, when the world is created. And he's the one that said, I saw Satan fall from heaven like lightning. You have authority over these evil spirits. You will trample on scorpions and snakes, and no harm will come to you. Satan was he was Lucifer, and he was an angel. And he was in charge of the music. And he got very arrogant and caused a lot of drama in heaven. So he got cast out because most people don't like drama. He gets cast out. He was an arrogant like you, stubborn like you, asshole like you, and drama. So he gets cast out of heaven, and now there's no drama in heaven. Because people don't like that. They don't like any of it. They don't like arrogance. They don't like assholes. And they don't like drama. So he gets cast out of heaven. Now there's no drama in heaven. It's a perfect place. And anyways. So he's now talking to Jesus, who saw him get cast out of heaven. And knows the end of the story, where he's defeated. And knows he's going to die on the cross, conquer death, hell, and the grave, rise again. He knows the whole thing already, right? He's God's son. He's part of the Trinity, God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Spirit, that created the earth. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. God spoke the world into existence with the Word. Okay, so Jesus already knows all that, right? He knows good and well that Satan is full of crap. He doesn't have anything to give him. Jesus and God and everything belongs to him. Satan is offering something he doesn't even have, and Jesus knows that. So, in my opinion, the temptation wasn't whatever Satan offered. Oh, I'll give you this great blah, blah, blah. And Jesus is thinking, but that's not yours to give. And by the way, I already own that. That's mine already. You can't give me something that's already mine. I think the temptation was not to hit him, frankly. I think that he's standing in front of somebody he knows is offering something that doesn't belong to him. It's already God's. And the Son of God's. He's telling the Son of God, if you jump off this building, I will give you whatever you want. And Jesus is like, I already have all that. That's actually mine. It's not yours to give. I think the temptation wasn't to jump off the building. I'm just saying, I'm speculating. I think the temptation was not to hit Satan at that moment. I think sometimes evil can provoke so much that you just want to fucking hit him. Just beat the fuck out of him. And David, here's David. He's been anointed king. He's conquered Goliath. And he's fucking sleeping in a cave. And begging a priest after he says, I've never seen the righteous forsaken or his seed begging for bread. He had to go beg for bread from a priest. But, as a man thinketh, so is he. You gotta, faith is the substance of what's hoped for. The evidence of things not seen. So sometimes you gotta speak it even though you're not seeing it yet. So, the thing is, he's gonna go, he was, fighting Crazy Saul. Crazy Saul's trying to kill him, and he didn't do anything. It's just Saul's crazy. Saul disobeyed God and then sought counsel from a witch and went loony toony. So he's chasing after David. Poor David, here he is. He's like, I'm anointed king. I conquered Goliath. And I'm fucking sleeping in a damn cave with bat dung and crap. And that had to be hard. And probably, if you read the Psalms, you can see, it probably got close sometimes. Maybe he was almost killed. And so you read the Psalms and you're like, you can tell his heart, and he hurt. And he's probably frustrated with God a little bit sometimes. And, what? This is not what you said. You said I'm supposed to be king. This guy's ruining our country and trying to kill me, and he's a cuckoo bird. And so, if you notice, David is continually asking, watch my words, help me with my words. Because when you're going through something like that, you're gonna have a normal reaction to an abnormal situation. You're gonna get pissed off. And David had a temper. He's going to some guy's house, and I think they wanted some food and water, and the guy was an asshole and chewed him out and whatever. And David was ready to beat the hell out of him. And the guy's wife comes and tells David, please don't do that. He's an asshole. Just let it go. Let me take care of it. Well, turns out the guy dies, and the wife ends up marrying David. So, I think sometimes that if we're real, we have anger at people who take things that don't belong to them. We have anger against people who would kill, steal, and destroy another person and hurt another person, especially when that person doesn't care what we think and then expects us to care what they think. And my point, I don't even fucking know what my point is that it is normal for Mr. Perry, for people to want to hit you when you're cruel. So the fact that you haven't been hit yet, and you're only told on, should, because the natural reaction is to want to just fucking hit you. You are a horrible man who's done horrible things to people that did nothing at all to you. And when you get screamed at, and when you get told on, and when you get caught, like never has happened before in your life, and it doesn't faze you, I need someone, your attorney or some of these guys at Tulsa Police or somebody, to explain to you the mind-numbing that is. I cannot get my head around that even. How can you not be, the disease that you have has eaten up your logic so badly that you're not putting together the anger and how very hated you are. Maybe because somebody's not hit you yet. If you come near me, I will, because you're a danger to me. I'll beat the fuck out of you and not think twice about it, because you're a danger to me, and I'm not going to wait to see if you're going to kidnap me or chloroform me or, But some of these other people around you that are disgusted by you and disturbed and horrified by you, for them not to have hit you, but you are caught and you are told on, and we do get this stuff, for that not to click for you what it means, I can't understand. I get it that you got a logic problem, but I can't understand it. I don't know how else to put it. My friend Tanya murdered her kids. She stabbed them 200 times each. I'm watching it on the news, and I knew this girl. I taught her in aerobics, and I'm seeing it on Bill O'Reilly, and I'm thinking Tanya Veselov of Chicago stabbed her 9-year-old boy and her 3-year-old little girl, Gracie and Christian 200 times each. And it was actually the day I met with Senator Harry Reid, and I'm telling my friend about the meeting and on the phone, and I look up at the TV and I see her, and I'm like, there's no way. The headline is Mom Stabbed Her Kids, and I'm thinking, that looks like Tanya, but there's no way. Tanya, that's just not who she is. And I kept talking, and I'm looking down, I'm walking through the house, and I come back into the room where the TV is, and I look back up, and I'm like, there's no fucking way two people look that much alike. And I hear the 911 tape of her husband, who's Bulgarian. I hear the Bulgarian accent. I tell my friend, I gotta go. My friend killed her kids. I gotta go. I hang up. I'm looking at the TV, and I'm horrified. And I'm going, the fuck happened? To my friend, that she would do this. I call my mom, and the phone rang like 3 times, but it felt like 100, and it felt like it was 30 minutes of ringing. And I'm on the ground screaming, why did she do this? What happened? Why did she do this? And my mom had to like calm me down. And so once we figure out why she did it, it's complicated, but we understand why she thought it was the right thing to do. But for everybody else to understand why she did it, you can't do it. Even though she's explained it, and you're like, I get it, okay, but why the fuck did you think that? So I guess that's the nature of dealing with someone who's mentally ill. You might understand that they have a mental illness and that made them do the thing they did. But understanding, you can't. If you're not crazy, you're not going to understand crazy. And so I have to deal with that being imposed on me every day. I'm not a family member. I'm not a friend. I'm nothing. The good news is, more they do to me, the more evidence of the crime he's covered up all his life comes out. He hid it all his life. He's done this all his life. He's done it to a lot of people. They all have. But the more they do it to me, all of a sudden it's different, and we get more than anybody has ever gotten in ever. Patrol. I'm doing that. I'm the one sleeping in my car to do that. You're not. You're trying to take my car for him. And I can't understand that, because I'm raised by police, where you don't do that to cop family. And you don't do it to women. You don't pull a woman over and she tells you, here's my problem. I'm trying to help a cop, and I'm a victim of stalking and domestic violence. It's both. Because it was domestic violence when I went to Officer Neely with it. And you're almost like helping him. And I don't understand that. I really don't. I'm not raised like that. I'm raised, thank you, do the right thing because it's the right thing to do, and you don't fucking leave cop family behind. And I want any patrolman that's going to pull me over next to know that's what's going through my head when you pull me over. And my questions are going to be geared to finding out, are you going to be a policeman right now? Are you going to take care of your cop family right now and enforce the law and protect women and children? Or are you going to be working for Perry? And I'm going to find that out, and you may not know that's what I'm doing. I did that 3 times already. And nobody knew that's what I'm doing. And I'm very, very good at what I'm doing. And I've got more evidence of this crime. And it's hideous. And it's heinous. And people's lives are blown up. And once the damage is done, it's catastrophic. And it's the kind of damage we won't get over ever. We're going to heal and we're going to move on because we decide to. It's our choice. We control that. Because we make a decision inside of us. I'm going to use this for good. Oprah Winfrey, I don't agree with her politics, but I like her. I respect her. And she's raped at 14 and has a baby by the rapist. And she's a black woman in a country that's not known for being fair when it comes to race and gender. And she's a bazillionaire because people respect her. She made a decision. I'm not gonna let this be an excuse to fail. I'm gonna be it to be the reason I succeed. And she made up her mind and she did it. And she is that. She lives it. She breathes it. That's what she is. And her mantra is powers in service. And that's what she does. And I hope that anybody that listens to these will take those words to heart. Power is in service. And that means when somebody's hurt, you help them. Like the Good Samaritan, you help them. And if you can, you reach your arm out and you grab it and you pray to God, put your hands around both of us and pull. And let's get people free. And let's get people happy, whole, blessed, prosperous. Land of the free, home of the brave. That's what this country is founded on. And we don't leave Cobb family behind. And Mr. Neely is worth defending. He's worth defending. And I would hope that I'm not the only one that thinks that. Surely I'm not. Surely our country has not gone to crap that bad, morally, that people don't think he's worth it. I do. And I think his wife, Lisa, is worth it. And I think their boy, John, is worth it. And I think Cobb family is worth it. And the law is worth it. And freedom and peace keeping is worth it. And outcomes and results are worth it. When there are outcomes and results that can change history and can make somebody who hurts not hurt anymore. And that's what we're here for, is to make it where people who hurt don't hurt anymore. And that's why I'm sleeping in my car. And why everybody wants me pulled over to take my car. I'm effective, or they wouldn't do that. I'm very, very effective, or they wouldn't try to make me fail. And I have a legacy to pass on to my kids, and it's not for sale. And my grandkids, my granddaughter, I want to be able to have a life without you guys in it. Where her dad doesn't get those phone calls. Is your mom talking to Brandon? Is it little John? Who's helping her? And I know you make those phone calls. And that I don't have to call my ex-husband and ask him for money. My guy said, you're not to peep on her anymore. You're not to contact her anymore. Act like a man. And she's not to be broke anymore. Act like a man. Show some respect for the law. Or you're not getting any help. And it's about to be too late. And it's not going to be from me. The guys will help you, Mr. Perry. It's appropriate for them to talk to you, not me. It's very inappropriate for you to try to talk to me. It makes my skin crawl. So, I'm going to ask you to stop. Just like him.
Leave me alone. I don't want to pray for this. Please leave me alone.
Amen. Leave women the fuck alone. When they're in public, when they're doing anything, you don't have the right to their attention. You don't have the right to step into their personal space. You don't have the right to them. Especially if they're making it very clear they don't want to be talked to. But even when they're not, unless a woman is giving you enthusiastic and continuous body language and signs that she wants to talk to your ugly dumbass, then leave her the fuck alone. Find a date a different way. Okay? It's not clever. It's not cool. It's not cute. It's garbage. It's absolute garbage behavior. And you're a garbage person if you do it. I don't care if it's in public. It doesn't fucking matter. You don't have the right to her. And you need to leave her alone. And this is Bacon.